Alright, alright. What's really going on? Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. Today, going to be taking a look at XLM, Stellar, Lumen against USDT. Going to be taking a look at some of these key technical aspects of price action moving forward. Going to be assessing some of the pivotal areas of support and resistance I believe we're going to be interacting with in the very near future here. Let me know in the comments down below. Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Do you trade? Do you hold? Or do you let the price action unfold? What are you doing with your bag? If you have one, do you trade XLM? Are you holding through all this crazy sell-off? If you sold your bag at the top here, at the bottom, what are you doing with your bag if you have one? Jumping right into it to kind of recap price action that has been kind of very bullish since the beginning of November here, sort of like middle of November of 2020. We broke out of very tight accumulation from the beginning of September, so a couple months of crazy sideways that allowed us to break upward parabolically toward very significant resistance, I believe, currently found between 24 cents and swing highs of 79 cents, kind of 80 cents has been this crazy range that we've rallied kind of up and down from. And so price action does seem to be approaching a very critical kind of low here, a last sort of a pivotal area of support that we have a chance of kind of holding. We could bounce from these kind of key levels here and start having some like daily candles close above 24 cents, and that would be a more short-term bullish kind of scenario that would unfold and give us more hope in the kind of short term, and we can expect a recovery to occur sooner. But if we do start closing below that 24-cent support level to perhaps confirm it as resistance, I do believe my next potential target could potentially be 16 cents, and so that would be a very bearish target if we were to confirm a 24 cents as resistance, although we could be fundamentally bullish enough to bounce and start closing above. Now, when we consider EngineeringRobo, along with the Fibba Zucchini, Fibba Illuminati, Fibba Lamborghini, Fibba Illuminati again lines, we can see a new perspective come into play here. In addition to the kind of fear and greed index, we can see a new perspective kind of come into play when we consider perhaps with all these kind of bearish suggestions coming into kind of play here, the close below the significant moving average, plowing through potential support, all these significant kind of key levels that we're kind of reaching and breaking, and so a sort of I guess midterm or long-term kind of perspective when you consider the fear and greed index, which is used for more kind of mid to longer-term traders and investors that kind of hold during the crazy sideways and fluctuations rather than kind of trade at their kind of key support levels. So we have price action interacting with the fear zone here in this kind of green highlighted area, suggesting key areas of accumulation when traders are fearful. And so if say you were accumulating around 7 cents and you held all the way through until the kind of first interaction we had with the FOMO zone there, you would have made 572% in just over 100 days. And so that would be a kind of more of a kind of midterm hold rather than these kind of like some shorter term sort of trades. And so price action in the FOMO zone is met with very high sell pressure. And typically when price action is found up in the FOMO zone here, we usually are rejected quite quickly, and we find consolidation and accumulation along key support level that we kind of came from. But if price action is bullish enough to maintain in the FOMO zone, we have very volatile spikes upward and downward as price action is met with very high technical sell pressure, in addition to very high fundamental buy pressure as FOMO kicks in, and so tops are bought, bottoms are bought, and the rally continues. And so very volatile price action occurs above the kind of FOMO zone here. And so rejections off of it do suggest perhaps a continued sell-off could occur, although the fundamentals of Stellar at the moment and cryptocurrency I do believe are bullish enough to kind of come out of this recovery as soon as we kind of find support here. A potential area we could kind of bounce from appears to be this 0.236 Fibonacci line at 21 cents. If we perhaps were to confirm 24 cents as resistance, a potential hope for support here before the dreaded kind of 16 cents would be that 21 cent level there, which could be a potential support below resistance at 24 cents. And so 16 cents does seem to correlate with the fear zone again, as price action has maintained bullish enough for the fear zone to kind of rise, and interaction with that zone I believe would be very bullish long term, but could perhaps suggest some midterm kind of sideways or more bearish price action before we can interact with these swing highs here around the 70-cent kind of level, 70, 80 cents that we came from not too long ago. So lots going on with Stellar at the moment. If we consider XLM against Bitcoin, we can see a new perspective come into play here when we see price action interacting with support found at the kind of where we are currently, my support line at 752 Satoshi. I've been suggesting could be potential support ever since we've kind of been closing below significant resistance found at 1204 Satoshi. And so price action, like I said, could be fundamentally bullish enough to hold at this level, which would be ultimately a long-term bullish, but we could have some midterm bearish sideways accumulation along this level before we can find our way upward. And so when we consider EngineeringRobo along with the Fibonacci lines of Illuminati, sacred angles, and geometry, we can see significant resistance perhaps at that 0.382 Fibonacci line at 842 Satoshi price action below the 200 daily moving average against Bitcoin. Potential support, significant support, would be at this kind of lower range around the 0.236 Fibonacci line. 652 Satoshi could be a more kind of bearish target of support if we fail to hold 752. Support found at that level would be more bullish, like I said, but ultimately there are some heavy suggestive bearish suggestions in play that could send us down to these kind of lower levels here. We have that sell for present, rejections off of these key Fibonacci lines, resistance found at that 0.618 level, kind of at the kind of like the end of May there to the kind of beginning of June, was when I was suggesting we could be bearish enough to potentially plow through potential support at that 0.5 Fibonacci line to interact with this kind of most bearish target where we are currently. And so price action at a critical level, fundamentally, we do appear to be bullish enough to potentially hold here. And so I do believe there's a chance that we could start to recover. Although, if we are bearish enough, that 0.236 line is kind of my next sort of target. When we consider Bitcoin against USDT, we can see a new perspective come into play. Price action plowing through support. Significant potential support at that 32K level. 32,000 was my target if we failed to hold that 0.5 Fibonacci line at 34,300. And so price action plowing through that level. We could very well bounce here. Like I said, this is the kind of pivotal kind of point. We could very much bounce or plow downward. We could find some sideways here as we determine kind of where price action would like to go. But this is kind of a very pivotal dip that could either kind of play out toward this lower level, my most bearish target, the 0.382 Fibonacci line at 27K. I could still be bullish long term, even if we find price action down there. But we could see some levels unfold and some kind of these like some sub 30K levels come into play before price action can find all-time highs again. So we do have a lot of technical reasons why sell pressure is present. We're quite, we're still quite up hundreds of percentages since this time last year. And so some kind of sell-off, some sideways, and accumulation, I do believe, is necessary for the trend to continue in the long term. So some technical kind of reasons why sell pressure is present, I do believe, is price action closing below this 200 daily moving average. This 0.618 Fibonacci line at 41,500 has been a significant resistance in this kind of like whole trend of accumulation until now. We were bullish enough to kind of interact with 32K a couple of times. The 0.5 Fibonacci line we could have held. We came all the way up to almost that 0.618 line just to get slapped right back down to the 0.5 again. And so plowing through 34,300 all the way to 32,000, I believe, is a tad short-term bearish, and we could see some more downside if we continue to close below 32,000 and perhaps confirm that as resistance. We very well, like I said, could find our way down to perhaps 27K. Thank you for hearing my analysis. Thank you for tuning in. Try EngineeringRobo free. I'll link in the description. Subscribe here on YouTube. Check out all the other social media down below. Let me know in the comment section. Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Do you trade? Do you hold? Or do you let the price action unfold? What are you doing with your bag? If you have one, do you trade Bitcoin? Do you trade Stellar? What are you doing with your crypto? Are you bullish? Do you think we found support? We're about to bounce, recover above significant support levels here and interact with all-time highs, vertical recovery, or are we still bearish and some more downside is ahead of us and we're returning to these kind of lower ranges that we kind of came from in the not so distant past. let me know in the comment section, and tune in for the next one.